Hello and welcome to Friday. It's Friday here anyway, and I am kicking off another interview or chat, as I call it, lovely chat. And today I have got Susan Hammond, who is a copywriter, and what is really fantastic about what she does is that she specialises in sort of mental health, well-being sector. And what's so fantastic about that is that she's got a niche. And when it comes to branding, it's really easy to, or networking in particular, to be like looking for work and going, I'd like to work with anyone who is breathing and has skin. And it's just not good enough. There's a lot of people out there in the same sector as what you do. How do you differentiate yourself? So I think full marks, tick boxes to Susan. So over to you, Susan. Tell us about your journey as to how you sort of came across specialising not only in copywriting, but also in mental health and that well-being sector that you work in now.
Okay, well, to be honest, it's really quite random. I actually initially was a science researcher. I was a geologist and paleontologist. I was like well into that world, but I've always loved the outdoors as well. So after I finished with like the research, I actually went into the outdoor world for a bit and trained as an outdoor instructor and stuff. And I just loved being in this world. But while I was doing that, real bad depression struck. I had my own mental health issues, and I was fortunate in that I already loved the outdoors and was doing lots of things which could help myself. But so I suppose really something that kept me sane throughout all of that, while it lasted for a good 10 years on and off, was really quite severe at times, but just getting out in the outdoors with my friends and going up mountains, just being outside, but mountains was my big thing. It really kept me sane. But I suppose having experienced it was pretty awful having depression, to be honest, and having experienced that and actually coming through it, I wanted to do something that would be able to help other people. So this is where the mental health and well-being aspect comes in, because it's like, I had the mental health issues, basically learned to deal with it through getting outside, using the outdoors, nature, going through counselling as well myself, and also drawing on my own Christian faith. And all those three things together helped me get through it. But it's like, well, hang on, it was awful. What about these other people? There's loads of people go through this. How can I help? And then I said this was quite random because I got over that. But, I hadn't even... I didn't know it was copywriting. In my life, I've done quite a few different jobs, and quite a few of them I did actually do some kind of promotional writing and research. And those were two things that I absolutely loved doing: researching, finding interesting things out, and then writing things in such a way as to make it understandable and interesting for the general person, for non-specialists or for whoever. So then what happened? I was kind of thrown another lemon, if you like. And so, as the phrase goes, I tried to make lemonade. And it's like, I had health issues and was forced to be at home going, well, okay, what do I do with my life? And this is where I actually came across copywriting as a thing. And it's like, okay, so this can combine doing research and writing things in an interesting, engaging way for people. And so I started writing my own blog, which it was actually called Creation Life Adventure. And it was all about getting out and about and doing things in the great outdoors and inspiring people. And people seemed to like it. So then through a random conversation with somebody I didn't even know, I stumbled across copywriting as a thing. And I was like, I can do this. I can do this from home. I can combine my passions. But it's like, I also was aware that a lot of copywriting, you can promote anything. So to me, it was like, I could just promote any old tat. If you're a good copywriter, frankly, you should be able to promote anything and sell anything, even if it really is tat and no one wants it.
But do you
But
want to, I suppose?
but that's it. I didn't want to do that. I'm like, why would I want to make people buy stuff that I think is rubbish or do stuff that I think is useless? That's just wrong to me. So I was like, okay. Got the idea initially of being an outdoor copywriter, but then I thought, no, what is most sort of core to me? It's like getting this sense of well-being has been so important and transformational in my life. People have helped me, like I said, medical professionals, other sort of more holistic well-being people, and just myself knowing certain things and getting outdoors. And so I thought, yeah, that's what I've got to do. And that's why I decided mental health and well-being. And so, yeah.
And I guess sort of following on from that as well is that for you experiencing the depression for a good 10 years, as you said, on and off, ebbs and flows, but you have all these different ways of treating and managing depression. And I'd imagine with such a long course of it like that you would sort of look for other outlays and ways of managing it. And so you would have done a lot of research, I imagine, like anyone who is going through a particular condition, whether it's physical or mental, yourself and those around you, you sort of seek out support and support networks to sort of manage that. And you come across lots of different ways of doing things, and then you experiment with work. Does that work for you? Because there's a lot of different stuff. Some things work for some people and not others. So in terms of sort of where you're at now, who would be your ideal client now? So you've talked about the sort of sector that you sort of specialize in now. Who do you work really well with, and who would you like to work with client wise?
Well, I suppose starting off, I mean, it's within the sector, it is relatively broad. So it's any sort of business or organization within the mental health and well-being sector who wants to promote something or inform people about something that's happened. It could include charities, not-for-profits as well. I do really like working with the micro businesses and startups, as long as people actually want to grow their business, because I see, at the moment there's a real market for this. People's well-being has just been like really thrown out there in the last 6 months.
I
And
think it's
people are
also
really
a lot more mainstream now. People are talking about mental health. People are going to see therapists and being more open about the fact that they are doing so. I've experienced therapy, both in sort of talking therapies, various holistic therapies, couples therapy. So, and I've always been kind of quite matter of fact about experiencing it and going through it when I was doing it at the time, and now talk about it now, because I think it's good to normalize it as well as educate others as that there are options out there. So I think kind of now more than ever, it's sort of so accepted to have that, and there's a real boom in sort of different health and well-being related businesses.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think it's, dare I say it, it's even becoming more accepted within the corporate world. I think maybe there's quite a long way to go, and any help that I can give people if they're looking to get their product or their service into the corporate world to help people in that area, I'd be very happy to help them promote themselves to get their business into that kind of place. But I think suddenly people are realizing people's well-being it really affects productivity. It really affects people's ability to be able to even come into work, to concentrate, to do work, and so people want to do something about it. So it's the right time. So that is one area, people who are looking to get their business, their service or their product into the workplace. Those are people I'd like to work with. But I have also, like I said, I've been through my own kind of counselling. In my case, it was talking therapy, and I had really quite deep counselling and psychotherapy, and did CBT, which is cognitive behavioural therapy. But at the same time, because although I had a health condition that made me be a bit more restricted in what I could do, my brain still wanted to do stuff. So yes, I've done a counselling course, and so I've seen things from both sides of the couch. And so working with therapists and psychotherapists, I've got quite an idea how there's so many different types, even within just the talking therapies. And then when you broaden it out to other things as well, there's so much. And yeah, but another area is, like I said, I've got a strong Christian faith, and I would like to work with Christian businesses and organisations within the mental health and wellbeing sector. So that could be a Christian person owns the business, or it might be an overtly Christian business, but it might not be. It could be, like I said, just that somebody is a Christian running their business, and they'd like to work with someone who understands where they're coming from in their worldview, something like that.
Okay, well that's interesting. That sparked some potential introductions that I could make around that. So I shall do some email introductions, chat with you later on after the call. So no, that's interesting to sort of know that, and you've also been doing a bit of networking in the business community, the wellbeing group. So that's good to be able to sort of be meeting your target market, and you've been doing stuff online as well. I presume you're sort of using social media to sort of get yourself noticed. How do you market yourself, out of interest? Because as a copywriter, and like I know that as any business owner, you can be a little bit of have the effect of the cobbler's children. Like I know all about kind of making things look pretty and consistent branding and stuff, but then there's the actual implementation of getting stuff done. Like my website is an ongoing beast, shall we say. So with yourself, are you like, well, I know how to do copywriting, and I do workshops on blogging, so I send out blogs on a regular basis, and here you go. Do you do that out of interest? Put you on the spot there.
I would love to do that. No, it's so hard. One of the things that, particularly with blogging, I do try to put regular blogs out there, but actually, like I say to people, only commit with blogging. It's really important to do it regularly so that you can build up a reputation with people that do know you, and they know to expect when your blog's going to be. So even if you can only do one once a month, or I wouldn't particularly advocate doing less than once a month, but really if you can't commit to it, there's no point in doing it. So yeah, I'm on about once a month at the moment because there's so much to do. So yeah, I do put regular blogs on my website, and I then advertise them on social media. But again,
do you put them as articles on LinkedIn as well? Do you put your blog as an article?
Yeah, I have been doing that, and then sort of writing posts linking to
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
But it is an ongoing battle because, well, it's like running your own business. There's so many things to do, and
yeah.
I'm really looking at outsourcing so that I can hopefully start doing more of my own blogging. But actually, you mentioned networking, and yeah, I mean, I find the business community which I'm part of is now, it's really so helpful. Although I have to admit, I've got a little bit of business through it. The main thing for me has been like the support to help me do other things and find the right kind of people to link up with, and the support and the knowledge that comes from the group, and word of mouth about events that I have on, for example. It's really beginning to take off now.
Because I guess to give a bit of context to what you're saying there is that although you've been writing and researching and in effect doing some version of copywriting throughout your career, in terms of running your own business as a copywriter, it's you're still kind of relatively new, aren't you? How long have you been going for now? About roughly?
Um,
Is it about a
Let me
year or
think.
so now?
Well, I would say sort of just over a year properly, because I
Yeah.
haven't been able to actually really focus on things. I have been doing other sort of behind the scenes stuff, and I did start networking a bit before, but only really seriously have I been able to do it for the last year.
Mm.
So yeah.
So in business terms, if you're saying that sort of that kind of year point marks that when you like really start putting focus into it, it's there's a lot of learning that you do as a new business that takes time. I mean, I've got 2 start dates because my business has evolved, and I've got kind of 2 different like versions of it. 3 if you include the kind of the rebrand. And
Okay.
well, because I mean, this isn't about me, so I won't sort of go on about it. But it's the thing of you work things out, you learn about how best to do things. So it's great that you're talking about outsourcing different skill sets so that you can focus on what you're really good at, the writing and blogging and stuff like that, not only for your own business but for other people. So that segues so nicely into how can people outsource to you, and what can you help businesses with?
Okay, so I suppose what I can help with, I've already mentioned blogging. If people don't have the time or the energy or the ability or whatever, they can outsource blogging. I offer a few different packages for like the frequency of blogging, which is all on my website. I also,
Which we'll
I
link
mean,
in the description for
yeah.
that.
Yeah, cool. And really, it's about anything that you need writing that will help promote or inform things to get you more business. So it can, like blogging is online. I would do articles, and it comes under blogging really, like LinkedIn articles,
Yeah.
any website text. So
Yeah.
I would work with website designers, and so you could outsource the text for your website.
And with websites, like if someone's already got an existing website and all the text that maybe they've either written themselves or possibly had someone else at one point look at it, but they want a bit of another pair of eyes looking at it, do you have like a package where you can review and edit website text? Rather, it's not necessarily a full like writing from scratch thing. Do you have something like that people
Yeah,
can
I
do?
mean, I will do that, but the way I work, I mean, aside from the blog packages, I quote on a project by project basis. So I would take, if it's an editing job, I would take into account its editing. I don't necessarily have to go and do any research to rewrite things, or I would have to look at the detail, and it can be, one person might say, can you edit my website? And that would basically be tweaking a few paragraphs and a few words, and actually it's pretty good. And another person would say that, and you're like, well, actually, I think you need it to be completely rewritten because X, Y, and Z. So I have to do it that way, really.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I'm not saying, like, do you have a one size fits all with that? I just meant, can you do a bit of editing and reviewing?
Oh, definitely.
And I guess, do you do stuff for like social media? Like if someone wanted to have a campaign with maybe sort of a whole series of posts, would you be able to help them with that, like their message that would go on there?
I have to be honest, I steer clear of that. I know people that who can do the social media, and it's an area I just don't, if it's a little bit attached to something else, yes, but I don't tend to do the social media side of stuff. I would work with other people on that. So
No,
sorry, did I surprise you?
Well, I guess sort of I know some other people who I guess sort of they're more known for PR, and they talk about all the different aspects, so they can do like social media and this and this and this, so it's sort of drilling down sort of what you actually do. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I think it's good to be like, no, this is my zone of excellence, and that's the, I guess where you're talking about is sort of longer area or more areas of text, so things like the website, an article, it's rather than shorter, snappier bits of text, it's sort of the kind of longer read bits.
And I would do things like, if you had regular newsletters that wanted going out, or email campaigns, or even direct mail, junk mail. I shouldn't call it junk mail, but I love writing junk mail. Good junk mail is good.
Well then it's not, I guess that's the challenge of making sure it doesn't go in the junk box.
Exactly. I like a challenge.
Okay, so like so I know that you've been talking about because I'm in the same community as you, that you did a workshop about blogging earlier this month, and you've got some other things coming up. Tell us a little bit about sort of the sorts of things that you're planning to run some online workshops or webinars on, and where people can find that information, because obviously there's the people can outsource to yourself, but I know that you're doing a bit of here's how you do this for yourself. So tell us a little bit about that aspect.
Okay, well, this is something I really am quite passionate about, actually, is helping other people learn how to do the copywriting themselves, which is why I've started this, and I have only just recently launched into doing it online. Last month, a few weeks ago, I ran a webinar on how to write a captivating blog, which was the start of it, designed to be an introduction for people who are looking to start writing a business blog, or have got one, but they just know they're not doing it really well. So I went through sort of the foundations, the things to think about before you actually even set pen to paper, going old school here, but actually pen and paper can be really good in the thinking process.
I do. I've got my notebook on the table here.
Good. The sort of the foundations, and then going through actually how to write it in a very structured approach, and helping people see, look, here's a way you can go off. If you learn nothing else about blogs ever again, you can go off and start with this. And also a little bit about the editing process and getting it ready to publish. So I did that, but the idea is to carry on doing more teaching. I'm going to repeat this one. So the next one's going to be on the 3rd of September. I can give you the details so you can put that in the discussion or whatever you said.
The comments bit, the description,
that bit. But I will continue to repeat it at regular intervals, like over the next few months. So
and will you do other topics, or is your real passion to really focus on the blogs and teaching people how to do that?
Well, initially it's definitely going to be like the blogs, but but I'm not going to keep you to that, because to be honest, a lot of what you can get about how to write good blogs, a lot of that is transferable to any copywriting. You know, for example, writing a good headline to captivate someone, to like get their attention, is important, whether it's a blog or whether it's junk mail. Like I said,
Yeah.
you need to write something to make people read, so they're
I agree with
transferable.
that. It's the same in the design world, because you've got, when I'm doing my lovely Canva Club training, you know, I might be talking about different aspects of a design, and I might be focusing in on, say, a YouTube thumbnail or a Facebook post, but there are some particular design principles that go across the board, you know, websites, this, that, or the other. So I guess it makes sense that it's the same thing when it comes to the words, that there will be some key principles, but then there's the sort of more practical side of how to write a blog as well that you cover, or to focus the mind in as to, you want to write a blog, well, here's the sort of ways that you can do.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm just sort of starting with that, and I will be doing, you know, the next webinar or workshop that I run will be about getting ideas for ongoing blogs, because that's something that a lot of people struggle with. So that will be the next thing coming up within the next few weeks, month.
Well, it works quite nicely if you're doing them as part of a series, because then, you know, it means that if someone's come along to your first one, they could maybe come to the next one because it runs on, and it as part of the series. So
watch this space for like my series that's coming up.
Exciting. There you go. So in terms of it, you know, hopefully people who watch this and find it interesting, the next video we're going to be covering some tips about copywriting, without giving everything away, that people can access by booking on one of your amazing webinars. But how can people get in touch? What's the best way for people to contact you if they'd like to know more, maybe get some quotes? You mentioned you've got some prices on your website, but if people just want to be like, get connected with you and hopefully work with you at some point, what's the best way?
Well, I mean, I've got my phone number. Do you want me to give that kind of stuff out right now? Or put that in the details? Like, you can contact... Okay, so it's like contact me by phone, or there's my website. I've got a contact page where if people can fill in their query there, I aim to get back in touch with people within kind of 48 hours, and we can arrange a phone call or a Zoom chat is fine. But I've also got a LinkedIn page and a Facebook business page. So any of those ways you can get in touch. I look at all of them. Okay. Or just my email address, you know, I'll give that as well.
Okay, well, we will share all the various modes of contact details for Susan in the description box. Okay, well, I think unless there's anything else that you wanted to mention, we can wrap this portion up of our chat. You think of anything else you're like, oh, I didn't say this?
Oh, I don't think so, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm just excited to give a few more tips in my other portion.
Excellent. Cool. Well, thank you so much for having a chat with me, and I hope everyone who's watching this found that interesting. Susan's a genuinely lovely lady, and has worked with a few people that I know. I've had some really good testimonials about your webinar on the blogging, your first one, and just generally sort of having one-to-ones with you. So get in touch, and I will wrap that up now. So thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, thank you.
See you on the other side.